Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. This is the English translation of the Majlis of Hazrath Maulana Qamar Uzzaman Saheb Damat Barakatuhum, which took place on Saturday, the 4th of Rabi'ul Awwal, 1444, corresponding with the English date 1st of October 2022. This Majlis took place after the Maghrib Salat at the Jama Masjid in Valsad, Gujarat. Hazrat Wala starts off this Majlis by quoting the ayat of the Quran Majid, ذَلِكَ الْيَوْمُ الْحَقُّ فَمَنْ شَاءَ اتَّخَذَ إِلَىٰ رَبِّهِ مَآبًا إِنَّا أَنذَرْنَاكُمْ عَذَابًا قَرِيبًا يَوْمَ يَنْظُرُ الْمَرْءُ مَا قَدَّمَتْ يَدَاهُ وَيَقُولُ الْكَافِرُ يَا لَيْتَنِي كُنْتُ تُرَابًا. Thereafter, Hazrat Wala says that insan was created weak. خُلِقَ الْإِنسَانُ ضَعِيفًا. You know, after coming, the electricity went. And I thought to myself that today I will not be able to give a majlis and a talk. And I won't give a talk because I was in such a restless state. But I came now and I sat down and I'm giving this talk, and this is what you call tawfiq. When Allah Ta'ala makes the means easy. Allah Ta'ala makes the means easy. So there is asbab and there are means for a person to carry out a'mal. When Allah Ta'ala makes this easy, that is what we call tawfiq, inspiration and guidance from the side of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Sometimes, you know, the letters that I receive on a daily basis, this is what I do. That a person writes or says that my heart doesn't even desire to read one letter or one word. And sometimes Allah Ta'ala takes and snatches away this tawfiq. That's why Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has taught us to make dua to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala for inspiration of a'mal that are beloved to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam says, Allahumma inni as'aluka at-tawfiqa li mahabbika min al-a'mal. Oh Allah, I ask you for inspiration to carry out a'mal which are most beloved to you. Oh Allah, you are the giver of the inspiration, give me tawfiq. So, the lights came back, there was some type of peace, strength came to my body, my heart felt open and I felt happy, I had inshirah, and now I've given this talk. This is what we call from the side of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, and we need to make shukr for it. Kare khair ki tawfiq diya, that Allah Ta'ala has given me the tawfiq to do a good deed. एक मर्तबा अल्लाह कहना दुनिया व माफिया से बेहतर समझो. Just to say Allah once, understand it to be better than this entire world and whatever it contains. Hazrat Gangohi used to say this. And why? Because to say Allah once, it is bi'idhnillah wa tawfiqih. It is with the permission of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala and tawfiq from His side. We learn from this, sometimes somebody has the tawfiq to do carry out tasbih 100 times. Someone has 6,000 times tawfiq. Someone has 12,000 times. Someone has 24,000 times, like Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Saheb. Or somebody has the hidayah to do 70,000 times, like Hazrat Maulana Mohammad Ahmad Saheb. Or somebody has the tawfiq from the side of Allah and with His permission to carry out zikr 100,000 times, like Hazrat Haji Imdadullah Rahmatullah Alayh. So tawfiq e khudawandi. This is what we call inspiration, tawfiq from the side of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. And that's why we hear that in such a short span of time, Ali radiallahu ta'ala an used to make khatam and complete the Quran. And we hear other incidents like that. What is it? How do we understand it? How do we calculate it? It is tawfiq from the side of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. And that's why when Hayya ala salah, Hayya ala salah and Hayya ala al-falah, Hayya ala al-falah is said, then what do we answer? What do we say? We do not repeat the same thing. Rather we say, in answer to that, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. That same theme and the same point is driven home again. That, oh Allah, you are calling me for salat. You are calling me to success. Oh Allah, but the fact of the matter is, there's no power and might to do anything. There's no power and might to do any good deeds or to stay away from any evil, except with permission from your side. Illa billah, except with your tawfiq and your hidayat. So, oh Allah, if you give tawfiq, give me that tawfiq, oh Allah, then I can come. You know, there was this worker who, assistant, used to look after horses. He was a very staunch and punctual namazi. Nevertheless, one day they were going and they stopped by a masjid, a very noble and dignified person. So he said to his master, Hazrath, or Aka, master, whatever it was, can I go and read my salat? Nevertheless, the master allowed him to go and read his salat. He went to read his salat, but so much time had elapsed and he just didn't come back. So the master then screams from the outside of the masjid, "Ao, come, what's up? How long are you taking?" So he goes on to say, "Aane nahi de rahe." He's not allowing me to come. So he says, "Who? Kaun?" So he answers, "Wahi jo aapko andar aane nahi de rahe." The same Zat and being who's not allowing you to come inside is not allowing me to come outside. Allahu Akbar. So much of sweetness he was finding and enjoying in the salat that he was carrying out. Therefore, at any time Allah Ta'ala can snatch away tawfiq and hidayat to do good deeds. Therefore, never ever understand anyone to be insignificant. Look at this assistant in this particular incident that we just quoted to you. So if it comes in your heart, give a few rupees, give a few rands, give it, because that is tawfiq from Allah Ta'ala's side. You may not have the hidayat to give it later. If it comes in your heart, read 2 rakats of salat, do it, because later on you may not have the hidayat to do it, the tawfiq to do it, the wudu to do it, your surroundings, whatever it is that's going to stop you at that time from doing it. When the thought comes into your mind, do it, because it is inspiration and tawfiq from the side of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ye zindagi, jo karna hai kar lo. This is the life. Whatever you need to do, whatever you have to do for Allah, do it. Dhalikal yawmul haqq. That is the true day. فَمَنْ شَاءَ اتَّخَذَ إِلَىٰ رَبِّهِ سَبِيلًا. So whoever wills and wishes should make a way to Allah. He should make a residence for himself. He should build and arrange and organize his abode. Work towards that. We have to make musta'iddi and preparations for that. Allah Ta'ala's kalam. There's so much of istighna from the side of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in independence. Allah is saying it's a true day. But whoever wills and whoever wants, ittakhadha ila rabbihi sabila, will make a way and a path to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Aane wali kisse tali jayegi. This death that is coming so fast and approaching us, who can avoid it? Who can turn it away? Allah Ta'ala is ever ready to give us. Man bana lillahi baytan, bana Allahu lahu. Man bana lillahi masjidan, bana Allahu lahu baytan fil jannah. Whoever builds a little masjid for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will build for him a home in Jannah. So think about that. Meditate that. The most important and the highest type of meditation is the meditation of death. Just for a few minutes, for a few moments, think about it. Death, Qamar, Akhirat, Hisab Kitab, Fariqun fil Jannah wa Fariqun fil Sa'ir. One group will be designated and destined for Jannah and the other for Jahannam. You know, there were some time ago, the government was cutting out plots and allotting plots for different people. Therefore, you also make arrangements for your land, for your zameen, for your palace, for your plot in the akhirat. Inna anzarnakum adhaban qariba. Definitely, we warn you of a close adhab. يَوْمَ يَنْظُرُ الْمَرْءُ مَا قَدَّمَتْ يَدَاهُ. The day that a person will see what his hands sent forth. وَيَقُولُ الْكَافِرُ. And at that time the kafir will say, يَا لَيْتَنِي كُنْتُ تُرَابًا. If only I could be dust and sand. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to recite in the Fajr Salat different portions for the Quran Majid. Such portions with such type of admonition that it was enough for the nasihat for that person for the day. Allahu Akbar. So the asking of Allah Ta'ala, asking Allah Ta'ala to grant us tawfiq. لِمَحَابِّكَ مِنَ الْأَعْمَالِ. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said on one occasion, the name of the Sahabi now is leaving my mind. He said, certain person is such a wonderful person. Only thing, he doesn't read Tahajjud Salat. So we will make mistakes, but make tawbah, make istighfar, prepare your nafs again and get ready to do good deeds. Islah ho jai, you are rectified, you stop doing this or that or the other in the wrongs and doing some good. Make shukr to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You are not proud, make shukr to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You do not have your hopes and your desires attached to the makhluk. Make shukr to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You do not have hasad, make shukr to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'll give you the incident of Hazrat Hassan al-Basri. He was in the Jama Masjid in Damishq. The Jama Masjid in Basra. And Ali radiallahu ta'ala makes his arrival. He enters the masjid, and then he realizes that there are different people in the different corners of the masjid seated and giving waz, nasihat, admonition, advising the people. So he reprimands them, he scolds them, and he asks them that, tell me, who has given you people the permission to give a talk here? Allahu Akbar. Hazrat Shah Waliullah used to say, if a person wants to give waz and nasihat, he has to have justice in his mizaj and in his nature. He has to have that sifat with him. Now, there's different ahkam for a person who's advising people. The person who's advising people is actually echoing. He's the tarjuman of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's echoing the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to humanity. Ali radiallahu ta'ala was from the Khulafai Rashideen. That time was such a good age. But then too, he did not like the idea of any person just coming there, sitting there and giving his waz. And then he said, listen, I'm going to test you. I'm going to examine you and take an interview of you. If you pass, I'll retain you, not a problem. But if not, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. Hassan al-Basri was so well trained and so confident about himself. He said, go ahead, please do, you may ask me. And Ali radiallahu ta'ala asks him that what is the foundation of our deen? So he answers, it is taqwa. It is taqwa. So we are staying in such an environment which is not conducive, in so much of dirt and filth, if we can term it that way. But in all of this, if a person chooses piety, Allahu Akbar. The hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that if any one of you leaves out 10% of the deen, then it will be the means of his destruction. But such a time will come on my ummah, if they practice on 10% of the deen, it will be the means of their salvation. And then he goes on to ask him the next question. He says, so then what is the destruction of this matter and this deen? So he said, it's at-tama'. It is having desires in others aside from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, putting your hope and your desires, you're having greed, your mind and your heart is attached to the wealth of people. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala teaches us in the Quran Majid, Ya ayyuhar rusul kulu minat tayyibati wa'amalu saliha. Oh Rasuls, eat from that which is halal and wholesome and carry out good deeds. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam then asks Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, after being commanded with this, he asks Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allahumma inni as'aluka rizqan tayyiba wa ilman nafi'a wa amalan mutaqabbala. Oh Allah, I ask you for pure halal wholesome rizq, beneficial knowledge and accepted a'mal. So our deen, there's so many batini aspects, internal and spiritual aspects. Look at this, what's mentioned in this particular narration here, piety. Piety is something that cannot be seen. It is a quality of the heart. Thus having hopes and desires attached to that of people and not of Allah, that is something that people cannot see. It's batini. You know, there was a person who went into the bazaars. He took what he wanted to take. He left his goods at the counter. He's about to pay. And the thought is coming and running through his mind strongly there. Please, I hope he can give me a discount. I hope he can give me a discount. There and there, he was, Kashf came and he was told that you have deceived. You have made khiyanat. You've got hope in this person here. Your hopes are not attached to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You want Him to give you a cheap price and a discount. لَإِن شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ. If you thank me, I will give you an increase. So make shukr to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the good that He's given you the tawfiq to do. So I was saying that tawfiq is from the side of Allah. Allahumma inni as'aluka tawfiq limahabbika min al-a'mal. Asking Allah for tawfiq to do the a'mal which are most beloved to Him. وَصِدْقَ التَّوَكُّلِ عَلَيْكَ. And O Allah, we ask you for genuine trust in you. وَحُسْنَ الظَّنِّ بِكَ. And O Allah, we ask you to bless us that we entertain good thoughts in you. So no matter what type of difficulty comes on a person should always entertain good thoughts with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sometimes people come and they say, this has happened, that has happened, look here what has happened and that has happened. What must we do? Don't they know what to do? What's more astonishing and surprising is that sometimes ulama even make these type of, ask these type of questions. So, the deeds that are carried out by the organs, that is called a'mal. And the deeds that are carried out by the heart, that's called akhlaq. وَذَرُوا ظَاهِرَ الْإِثْمِ وَبَاطِنَهُ. Abandon, leave out apparent sins and internal sins as well. Like how we have apparent acts of worship, example salat, roza, etc. Similarly, we have on the other side internal acts of worship, example sabr, shukr, akhlaq, etc. Allahumma inni as'aluka sihhata wal iffata wal amanata wa husna al khulq wal ridha bil qadr. Oh Allah, I ask you for good health, chastity, trustworthiness, good character, and the high station of ridha and being pleased with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even kufr and disbelief. What is this kufr? Kufr is something which is batini. Similarly, jealousy, pride, all these things are internal. Such things we are listening to and such type of conditions that it actually makes a person restless. But remember, like how our ulama have told us, that why are you practicing on mutu qabla an tamutu? Why are you dying? Why are you dying before you're going to die? Do what you have to do, try your best and continue. Whatever good you are allowed to do, it is the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And whatever comes from the side of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whatever comes from the side of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that is actually not even justice, it is karam. Because it could, if it was justice, it had to be most definitely so much more worst. So Allah Ta'ala give us the tawfiq of making shukr to Him. We having afiyat. Allahumma inni as'aluka al-afiyah wa dawam al-afiyah wa shukra ala al-afiyah. Oh Allah, I ask you for afiyah, perpetual afiyah, and oh Allah, you're going to grant me that. Give me the tawfiq in hidayat of thanking you, shukr, for that afiyah that you have given us. Otherwise, we may be taken to task by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah Ta'ala give us the tawfiq and the hidayat of doing those things which are pleasing to Him. Allah Ta'ala give us the tawfiq and the hidayat of carrying out those a'mal which grant us proximity and nearness to Him. Allah Ta'ala protect us, and we seek refuge in Him against those a'mal which are a means of taking us away from Him. Allah give us that tawfiq. So in the start, actually this hadith was actually in my mind. Let me just quote it to you now. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, ittaqillaha haythuma kunta. Fear Allah wherever you may be. Whether you in an aircraft in mid-air, whether you're in the jungles, whether you're in a residential area, wherever you are, fear Allah. The second portion of the hadith, وَاتْبَعِ السَّيِّئَةَ الْحَسَنَةَ تَمْحُهَا, and follow up a sin with a good deed because it will erase it. At least say astaghfirullah, give a few rupees in sadaqah. This hadith is so all-encompassing, so short, but so complete. It reminds us of the surah in the Quran, Inna a'tainaka al-kawthar. So on the basis of being a human, we should fear Allah wherever we are. But on the basis of being a human, or on the basis of us giving in to our lust and our desires, and we commit a sin, then immediately follow it up with a good deed. And the last part, وَخَالِقِ النَّاسِ بِخُلُقٍ حَسَنٍ. Come across to people, adopt a noble character. Allahu Akbar. Yesterday I quoted the hadith, اُعْبُدُ الرَّحْمَنِ, worship Rahman, وَأَطْعِمُ الطَّعَامِ, feed people, وَأَفْشُ السَّلَامِ, make salam a common practice, you will enter into Jannah. So after ibadat, a great amal is that of feeding people. So there are three categories and three shakhsiyat and zats that we are connected to. One is that of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the other is that of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and the third is that of the common people. So if we want to rectify our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then we must make sure that we perform our 5 salat. You know, rectify your ta'alluq and enhance it with Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, then carry out abundant durood. And if you want to rectify your relationship and your ta'alluq with people, then carry out abundant salam. Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Saheb used to say that sometimes there's something between two people, but listen, make salam. The first time he won't give an answer, the second time he'll soften up, and the third time most definitely he will reply you. Now in 10 years, what type of work Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam done? That is a miracle on its own. His talk, his speech, the hadith is wahi ghair matlu. It is not on the same daraja of the Quran, but nevertheless it is very, very important. It is the Mubarak sayings of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and it has its own high position. Now let us make dua. Allahumma aslih li ummati Muhammadin sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allahumma arham ummata Muhammadin sallallahu alaihi wasallam. اللهم فرج عن أمة محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. اللهم اغفر لأمة محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. اللهم تجاوز عن أمة محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fulfill our needs and remove our difficulties. Allah ta'ala give us the tawfiq to do good deeds, and Allah ta'ala grant righteousness to our children. Give us the tawfiq and hidayat of giving them good spiritual upbringing and giving our children that itminan and peace in their hearts to understand that what their parents are telling them is haqq and that's the deen. Allah Ta'ala bless us with good fortune. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم بحرمة سيد النبي الكريم صلى الله عليه وسلم.